All right, so again, welcome everyone to today's webinar on sports activities and the Paralympic Games, presented by AQA and Austin Health. I want to start by paying acknowledgement to country. So I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. I'd also like to pay my respect to elders past and present. So what we're going to be covering today, we've got a bunch of panelists who most of us are here, and I think a couple are having trouble joining, but they'll join as they come. So we've got Aaryan Shah. I won't talk too much about each person. I'll get them to talk about themselves individually. We've got Brian Fitzpatrick, Emma Booth, Jack Manning, Lachie O'Brien, Marty Dunn, Sam McIntosh, Lenny Rose, and Sue Valdes. My name is Nazim Erdem. I'm from AQA Victoria. Um, After that, we're going to just have a look at the Paralympic Games, what sports are going to be presented at the Paralympic Games, which are coming up pretty quickly. After that, we'll go around with the panelists and they'll talk about their injury, their disability quickly, and what sports they've tried and what they're doing at the moment. And then we're going to leave with the panelists mentioning what they've got as a takeaway message. And after that, we're going to invite all the people that have registered to come onto the screen with us just for a bit of a chat and to ask some questions as well. So, I guess everyone knows that the Paralympic Games are starting in Paris pretty soon. It's all over the news. So we've got the Olympics, which have just started, I'm pretty sure, and they're going to go for a couple of weeks, and there's going to be about a week break. And then the real games are going to start, the Paralympic Games. So as you can see on the screen, the Paralympic Games start on the 28th of August and go until the 8th of September. And there's going to be more than 4,000 athletes from around the world competing in 549 medal events. And those events are both individual and team sports. As you can see, all the sports there's 22 of them. Blind football, boccia, goalball, archery, athletics, badminton, canoe, cycling, equestrian, judo, weightlifting, rowing, shooting, swimming, table tennis, taekwondo, triathlon, volleyball, wheelchair basketball, wheelchair fencing, and wheelchair rugby, which I've got to say that's my favourite, and wheelchair tennis. So some of our panelists have actually been to the Paralympic Games and are also taking part in some of these sports, either in a lower grassroots level or even at the elite level as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'll stop sharing my screen and then we'll do a quick introduction. I want to go in order of people on my screen, and we'll start with Lenny. Lenny, you're on my screen, so maybe if you do a quick introduction about who you are, when you had your injury,
Yep.
what sort of activities and sports you've tried,
Yep.
and yeah, some of your highlights.
Hey folks, so my name's Lenny. In October will be 8 years for me. I'm a T4 complete paraplegic. I had a tumor in my spine and went in for surgery and came out in the chair. Probably one of the best things that's happened to me as discovered who I am, found my ability, got control of my life. So yeah, for me it's been really positive, and one of the positive or the most positive things has been sport. Um, Fortunately, I'm ex-military, so I was able to compete at the Invictus Games a couple of times, where got a couple of medals in a few different disciplines. Where I did hand cycling, rowing, wheelchair rugby, and basketball. I medaled in everything but basketball. We were pretty crap
Yeah.
compared to the Europeans and the Americans. The Americans are literally like the dream team, just shooting threes like it's going out of fashion. Other sporting things I've done, I do Spartan races, which is a obstacle racing, which is not obviously meant for people in chairs, but I've got a good bunch of mates that huddle around me and throw me over some obstacles. We did a 21 kilometer race in February that took about 6 hours. Pretty nuts thinking, what we can achieve in a chair with the right people around you. Yeah, so, sport for me has been fantastic. Thanks, Naz.
Thanks, Lenny. That's a great point. I mean, a lot of these activities that we do, they don't even have to be considered sports, but a lot of people don't know how to start, how to go about it, but getting the sports in place because not everything you can do yourself, especially if you use equipment, if you've got to, transfer into another chair or,
Correct.
if you play bocce, for example, or 10-pin bowling, there's different options out there and not everyone has got all the equipment. Just wanted to mention to people watching us, if you've got any questions along the way too, you should have an option to chat or post some questions and then some questions and we'll answer them as we go. Now we'll move on to Jack. Jack, you're next on my screen.
Hi everyone, I'm Jack Manning, C45 complete quad, had a motorcycle accident versus a wallaby 7.5 years ago. Got the hang of this now, travelling pretty good, and but I let myself go for a while, and now I've realised I've got to get into a bit of training, get into a bit more in a manual chair. I've got to be comfortable in my power chair, so I've been working towards doing a lot more pushing with a bit of help in a manual chair and having a bit of a go at the wheelchair rugby. Once I realised that the wheelchair rugby was for quadriplegics, I sort of thought, oh, this is for me. And Naz and Josh, seeing there how they have a go, I thought I can have a bit of a go. I'm not going to make the Olympics, but totally enjoying spending time with bloody great people, having a bash around in a rugby chair.
It's good fun, Jack. As you know, I mean, it's worthwhile trying different things, and not everything suits everyone, but it's good to know what activities and sports are available and giving them a go to see if you're going to be interested in taking it further.
Yeah, highly recommend it. As for the wheelchair sport for quadriplegics, I think it's the one to grab a hold of.
No, great. Thanks, Jack. Next on my screen is Brian. Over to you, Brian.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here this afternoon. I'm wearing a couple of hats actually this afternoon. One is as a wheelchair sports person and where I've engaged in 3 particular wheelchair sports. But I also happen to work at Mobility Plus, where we design and fabricate custom sports wheelchairs. So to start off with my journey, born with spina bifida, I had to admit it, but that was 62 years ago. And whilst I had full function, I had went to a mainstream school, played all sports, did all the usual stuff. But as time went on, my condition deteriorated. Every 10 years, I had what I call a relapse, where things just started to change. In 2010, my mobility was greatly affected and started using a wheelchair from then. So about 14 years now, using the chair. At the time, I had no idea where to go, and Mobility Plus just happened to be on Bell Street at the time. So this was obviously before I started working for them. So I just knew of them by driving up and down Bell Street because I lived in the area. Went there, got my first chair, and then I was introduced to wheelchair tennis at the same time. Now, I used to play a lot of tennis as a kid, so obviously had to give that up as the legs deteriorated. But when I was introduced to wheelchair tennis, that just opened up a whole lot of other new doors for me and allowed me to start participating again in sports. From tennis, played that for a number of years, just doing local comps, a couple of national comps. Didn't ever go internationally with it. Then in 2015, after 5 years of playing myself and Danny, who I played with quite often, we were getting softer in our older years, and we thought we are going to find an indoor sport. So I actually went to badminton. So we went from outdoors on tennis courts to indoors playing badminton. In 2015, after playing for 3 months, we were given the opportunity to compete in the World Championships in London, and went to Stoke Mandeville to do that. So whilst I've not actually participated at a Paralympic level, I have participated at a world level. That was absolutely a great experience. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Represented Australia. Had the full tracksuit going on. It was brilliant. So been playing badminton for a number of years, and then also took up wheelchair AFL, which love Collingwood. They're my team. Was drafted to Collingwood. Played a couple of seasons. We were fortunate to win a couple of grand finals. I then stepped down from playing and then took on a coaching role with the Collingwood wheelchair team, and I coached them to their last actually grand final a few years ago. So AFL was a great sport to become involved with as well. So they're the three sports that I've been engaged with as far as playing sport is concerned. Then joined Mobility Plus 11 years ago, and my role there is meeting with clients with varying degrees of health challenges and disabilities. And as I said, and we design and fabricate custom sports chairs for all the sports that I mentioned, from tennis to basketball to AFL to lawn bowls. We pretty much do them all. So if I can assist you at all in that regard, let me know. So, but thanks again. Great to be part of this afternoon, and please feel to ask any questions.
That was great. Thanks very much, Brian. I loved everything you said, except your like of Collingwood, I've got to say.
Well, you might like that, Nas.
Yeah. Everyone's got their favourite teams. All right, so next we'll go to Lachie.
Hi everyone, I'm Lachie O'Brien, currently 31 years of age. I broke my neck in a rugby accident back in 2010, and that left me as a Tier 2 incomplete paraplegic. So basically, over the years, I've tried many different sports. I did wheelchair rugby a long time ago, but I got classified out of it, and I'm too competitive, so I didn't want to just play for fun. And then tried a few different things, got into did a bit of wheelchair racing. And then a mate of mine taught me to swim, and then we ended up doing fair big swim sessions, about 2K sessions. And then he did triathlon, so he said, "Oh, jump into a triathlon." So I got a hand cycle, and then as soon as I rode that, I was just thinking, "Oh my God, this is what I love." So I did the triathlon and tick it off the list, and then dropped everything else and sort of stuck to that. And over the years, I've competed at I think 6 or 7 nationals now. Love that. But to be honest, my biggest passion is riding up mountains. So going around Victoria and riding the mountains around there. And then I want to go overseas and go ride all the mountains in Spain and Europe and all the hardest ones around the world. And yeah, I think because of how hand cycling helped me so much with my spinal injury, I really wanted to give the same to others. So a few years ago, I started to be a personal trainer, and now I'm in business training people with physical disabilities, because I realized how important it is day to day, just exercising, how much easier it makes it just pushing around. And, you don't even think about it after a while just because you're exercising all the time and it's just second nature. So I guess, that's me in a nutshell.
That's a great point, Lachie. I mean, when we talk about sports and all that sort of stuff, or even activities, it's a way, and it's really important to stay fit and healthy. So just keeping active in any form is really important. You don't have to play at the highest level or anything like that, but it's really important to find something that's going to keep you active. Doesn't have to be any of the sports that we're talking about at the moment.
100%.
Yeah. Next, Sam, over to you.
Hey, Sam McIntosh. Originally C6, incomplete quadriplegic, back in 2007. Broke it again in 2011 just to make sure the job was well done. So that was C7, really cementing things in stone there. Don't recommend it.
No.
Just throwing that out. My main sport is wheelchair athletics. I am a T52 classified athlete, which is the highest quadriplegic impaired category in wheelchair racing. I've been lucky enough to be around for quite a while now. So I have just been selected to my 4th Paralympic Games, which is pretty exciting, and I think 5 World Championships and things. So I've been very lucky to be able to travel around the world a lot and make a lot of awesome memories with a lot of people representing the country. I think a recurring thing that a lot of people are talking about is, for me, what's been really good about all sorts of different para sports is the community that you build along with it. I've tried my hand in numerous different para sports, not just athletics, and especially the team ones. I find are really, really awesome just to have that community, and it's just really cool to have a place to go and you can hang out with like-minded people with similar experiences. You get to share stories and like just how you go about daily life. You can learn a lot from chatting with other people. So for me, that's been really, really important.
No, thanks, Sam. That's a really great point that you made. I mean, you don't have to love a sport, but what you get out of being part of a team or like a group is really important. You get that social side. It's great for your mental health, for your fitness. See what other people do other than what you're there with them. It builds motivation and builds encouragement for you to try different things. You sort of pick people's brains. So you don't have to like wheelchair rugby or basketball or track. You go there, meet the team. It's a social side again. That's really important, and also to keep fit and see what other options you may have.
And there's actually a question for Sam there.
Oh yeah, okay. So, I can't actually see that. Can you read it out, Lachie?
Yeah, basically they're asking, how fast do you go, Sam?
Never fast enough as a competitive athlete. I'm sure you can relate with that, Lachie. You said you're very competitive. My top speed is around 30 kilometers an hour. And for the 100 meters, which is my main event, I do that in about 17 seconds.
30 k's an hour? Is that pushed at that speed? Is that on the road or the track?
That is the track with a nice tailwind.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, isn't it? Hopefully, look, I want to share some photos later. A lot of people, we're talking to them about, the sports that we're involved in. We talked about hand cycling, track chairs. People probably don't know what they look like, but we'll show some photos later on. But track chair, I mean, all of it's self-propelled, isn't it? So you're pushing like a wheelchair. You've got a specialised setup where the way you sit in your chair. Hand cycling as well. There's different versions of hand cycle, and just like the word says, you're cycling. So instead of your legs, you're cycling using your arms to pedal. All right. So, we've got a comment here for you, Sam. We need to get you into a hand cycle. Is a comment.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
I'm not sure as a sprinter, my endurance would be very good for hand cycling. It might take a few years of training to get that built into me, but I really do enjoy hand cycling. I don't do it often enough. It's something I'd like to introduce back into my training a bit more there.
Yeah, good. And Marty.
G'day, Naz.
Marty.
How are you? So my name's Marty. 8.5 years ago, I had a motorbike accident where I hit a brick wall at 100 k's an hour, and don't remember what happened. Just woke up in hospital, like looking at my mate and my mum, wondering what happened. And from there on, I used to be a carpenter, and I hated working and sitting behind a desk or even just sitting in general. And I found wheelchair tennis while I was at the hospital. And I used to play a lot of tennis in my junior years. And the National Academy told me, well, why don't you come down and play wheelchair tennis and see how you go? And I was 22, 23 at the time, and I thought I was too old. I was like, who gets into professional sports at that age? But lucky for Paralympic Sports, you can get in at pretty much any age you want. It's great. And 1 day a week turned into 2 days a week training, turned into 5 days a week training, turned into me playing national tournaments, international tournaments, and eventually made the Australian squad. And then, traveled all around the world, been to over 20 different countries, whether playing for the sport or just me wanting to go on a bender. And Yeah, then I went on to the Tokyo Paralympics in 2021, where it was an amazing experience. It was very unfortunate though because it was COVID. I could have been anywhere in the world doing what I was doing there, but look, I don't want to, make it sound bad. It was still a great experience, and yeah, I'm happy for all the athletes now going on to go to Paris 2024. I'm actually a little bit jealous, but yeah, I'm sure they'll all do great. I'll eat a lot of croissants and maybe try the snails while they're there, and yeah, enjoy themselves. That's all I can say. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Sam, going there for your fourth time. That's amazing. Great stuff. And yeah, look, all I can say is tennis was my passion it was my purpose once I ended up in a wheelchair. Me being a carpenter, and as I said before, I didn't really want to have a job sitting behind a desk. So I was very fortunate enough to be able to find tennis where it got me out of bed and kept me out from the pubs. So yeah, that's the best way of saying it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks, Marty, for that. Now, I mean, we talked about like Paralympics and all that sort of stuff. That's the highest level, isn't it? It's for elite athletes, and a lot of people assume that when you're at the Paralympic Games that you just play, you turn up and you play, but people don't realise at the highest level, of course, you got to be the best at what you are, and that means you're training probably 6 days a week. Different types of training that you're doing, and it's a big commitment. It's like a full-time job in a way. You want to talk about that, Sam? As in, if you want to play at the highest level, what does that mean? What sort of organisations are you connected with? What sort of equipment you use, and how often do you train?
Yeah, it is definitely a full-time commitment. Like you mentioned, it's 6 to 7 days a week, and it can be 1 to 2 sessions a day, depending on where you are in the year. So it works out to a lot of hours of training per week. So yeah, it puts you in a very privileged position if you can do it, because financially it's quite reckless trying to hold down any sort of employment while you're doing that. So you do come quite reliant on sponsorship to help get you through those big training blocks. But yeah, it is. I know a lot of people think just like because of the disability side, Paralympics are less than the Olympics, but that is absolutely not the case. It is a high performance sport, and we train as just an elite level as the Olympians do. We use all the same facilities. I'm currently up in the Australian Institute of Sport at the moment, using their facilities and using all the same staff. I was just in getting 3D scanned this morning to help get knee plates made, and everything is extremely customized to you as an athlete, which is one of the downsides of parasport is you can't just put on a pair of sneakers and go try a bunch of sports. You unfortunately need a lot of specialized equipment. So it does make it quite expensive and hard to get in for a lot of people, but there are a lot of great organizations that have loan equipment that you can go trial. There's a massive community of people, especially in Melbourne, I know, and in Geelong, where I'm from, that have old equipment because you need to replace equipment quite often. So I know even from my sense, I've got a lot of race chairs in my garage that I've lent out to athletes that want to try it, or to lend them for years if need be, because yeah, they are quite expensive to get in from a grassroots level.
Oh, that's fantastic. Didn't realise you were at the AIS there, Sam, Australian Institute of Sport. Lots of states have their individual institutes of sports too. There's the VIS, the Victorian Institute of Sports, and I think all the other states have got similar organisations as well. And another thing too, you're probably at training camps quite often. Once every month or once every 2 months, you probably get together with other athletes and do a training camp, which is probably what you're there for now.
Yeah, just a last little training camp and fine tune before we head out over to Paris. Yeah, it's multiple times a year we get together as an event group and do training camps. But yeah, I spend a lot of time at the Victorian Institute of Sport as well, like you mentioned, which is the Victorian one based out of Melbourne in the Lakeside Stadium. Probably seen it. on the F1 coverage. The cars go flying past it.
No, exactly. Great, thanks for that. Now, you
Naz, can
talked
I just
about, yeah,
quickly
go on.
add something in just to what Marty was saying, that with age in a lot of para sports, you can do them at quite a late age. I just want to add that because hand cycling, I'm a H3, and the main age for my category is between 40 to 50. And the last guy that won silver at the last Paralympics in Tokyo was 62. Odds fry. So just so everyone knows, so it's never too late.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point as well, Lachie, because age is not a barrier. It's all about getting fit, and it's also concentrating on, the sport, getting to the level as you can be. So age is not really a barrier, because you're competing with other people in similar situations. What we'll do is we talked about cost, and I know Sam touched on it as well. I'll go over this question is pretty much to everyone. We've tried different sports. I know, Lenny, you've played wheelchair basketball and wheelchair rugby. It's not cheap, to get equipment. You're looking at over $10,000 for to get set up to play wheelchair rugby. Basketball would be the same. Tennis would be the same as well. So if people want to try out these different sports or activities, I think someone mentioned that as well. There's organisations in Melbourne and Victoria that have loan equipment. Hand cycling is the same. I know, Lachie, you've got some hand cycles that you lend people to trial as they want, but there's equipment you can try to give it a go. So before you outlay that big money, you can sort of see, depending on what level you want to be in at, you can either keep, using their equipment, or if you want to go further, you can buy your own equipment when you need. Someone made a mention, I think it was Carol online, asking if it's possible to get equipment paid through the NDIS. Now, if you've got TAC or NDIS, they would buy your sporting equipment. I don't know what the rule is, but generally they'll buy you one specialised sporting equipment every few years. But you have to prove that you're not just going to do it for a week and then stop using it. So you have to show some commitment that you're really interested and you've been involved for a while. So NDIS will do that. Also TAC too, but it's really important. If you haven't got insurance, you can try this equipment first just to make sure that it's for you and you want to trial it.
Naz, can I just add on to that?
Yep.
That what we also noticed was, whilst we never want to go back and relive what we all went through with COVID, but when everything did shut down, including obviously all our sports and recreation and things like that, that when we reopened up again, what we noticed was that during the shutdown, where a lot of sporting organisations obviously have employed inclusion officers to develop programs for people to participate in different sports, that when they looked at their programs, they pretty much realised that they didn't have the equipment to support those programs. So whilst they were busily redeveloping programs and coming up with new initiatives and strategies, that they didn't have the equipment to support it. So when it all opened up again, we noticed at Mobility Plus that we were inundated with orders from all different sorts of sporting organisations, from the AFL clubs to Basketball Vic to YMCAs, where they were putting orders through for generic community sports chairs that they could then purchase and have within their hubs for people to come along and try on their come and try days. So that was another avenue for people to get access to equipment and be able to try different sports before they had to outlay that money through, like you said, Naz, whether it be through TAC, NDIS, or any other funding body. So yeah, you are right, Naz. Through NDIS, there is options there to be able to purchase sporting equipment. So you just need to engage a occupational therapist or a physio that will write the report that will end up going into NDIA, and the process starts.
No, great. Great points, Brian. But there's that's great to hear that other organisations are buying equipment just for people for that purpose to come and try. If anyone's got any questions or they want to get in touch with any of these or any of the panelists or sporting organisations, and you don't know what steps to take, please get in touch with AQA. Could have our number, but it's all on the website, aqa.org.au. We've been joined by Aaryan and Sue Valdes, so we'll go to Aaryan first. And what we've done, Aaryan, we just talked about our disability, how long we've been playing sport, or how long we've had our disability for, and what other sports we've tried along the way.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize for being really late. I had
That's
a
all right.
bunch of tech issues getting in here. But yeah, I play a sport called bocce. I don't know how familiar people are here with it. So essentially, it's like a modified version of lawn bowls where it's played on a wooden surface, mainly with people in wheelchairs, where I you get your ball as close to the white ball as you can. It's for people with cerebral palsy and muscular dystrophy primarily. So you either throw the ball or you push the ball down a ramp where someone helps you line up the ramp. But to prevent sort of cheating and stuff, the person adjusting the ramp, they can't watch the game. So their back is turned to the game. And my journey into the sport was a really interesting one because I was in year 5 with a bunch of friends, and my school teacher, he basically just enrolled us into this competition in a sport that we knew nothing about. I'd never really seen it played before, and um, we never having played, we ended up getting into the next round. We thought it was like the funniest thing, and then like all the people that were there at the time, they are actually my coaches now, like the national coaches. So they saw me, and back then, about 12 years ago, there was a lot of like development for junior players and camps, and more like the sport kind of grew. There was a lot of younger players, but unfortunately, as it's gone on, there's been a lot like the development has kind of stagnated in Australia in certain classifications, especially mine, which is a shame because a lot of the players that I first started playing with, they no longer play anymore. So it becomes just playing the same people over and over again. And I've been lucky enough to represent Australia a few times. I'm trying to get to the LA Paralympics as well. So it's been an exciting journey, and I love how it's such an inclusive sport. But a lot of it is very tactical and use your mind in terms of where to place the balls, where to place the jack, like whether you knock the jack out of play, like the different shots to play, and depending on the player's strengths and weaknesses, where to put the balls to sort of deter them. And it's almost like chess with a ball because the only physical aspect is actually throwing the ball. Like the chair positioning, your arm speed, how far you want to throw it, and even with the ramps, like exactly where to put them, how to calibrate it. It's a lot more tactical, and there's a lot of little nuances that people don't really realize.
Excellent. Thanks, Aaryan. So, got a question. So, can people play like at a social level, or is it just one of those things where, you've got to join a bigger team or something?
So
So
there's a lot of clubs around that just train from a social aspect, and there's like different competitions going on, like in Allambie Heights here in Sydney, in New South Wales, on Mondays and Fridays. There's more of a social comp where people can come and get match practice, but there isn't kind of penalties, and it's more just to play. Whilst on Wednesday, there's more of a serious like weekly comp that goes on a school term basis. But they're always looking for more people to play and always looking to grow the sport. So anyone that wants to come and try, it's such an inclusive game that people of all different sorts of impairments, they can all get involved. So it's a great sport because of how multidimensional it is, with the cognitive elements as well as the physical elements.
Now that's fantastic. So, people out there, it's just not competition based. A lot of these sports have weekly competitions, but there's like a spot for social activity as well. So to learn,
Definitely,
come and try. So it doesn't matter which sport it is. There's again like a grassroots social side of it and a high level side of it as well. So we've got Sue here as well. Sue, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. So what we've done, we just sort of introduced ourselves, what disability we've got and what different activities or sports we've tried.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to
including what we're doing
mention
now.
that I have cerebral palsy as well. Yeah.
No, thanks. Yeah, thanks for adding that, Aaron. So really important, and it doesn't matter what disability you've got, there's all sorts of options out there. So over to you, Sue, if you want to do a quick introduction about yourself and what activities and sports that you've tried and what you're doing at the moment. So you're muted at the moment, Sue. So
here we go.
Yep.
Sorry, Ash. Problems with my internet this morning. The computer, iPad, no go. So I'm on my phone today. So my background, T2, paraplegic, in my chair for about nearly 30 years. Do some mentoring, do wheelchair dancing, out in the community quite a bit, and do some some work with other people as well. So
fantastic. So what I know that you're right into wheelchair dancing. Can we call it that?
Yeah, we can call it wheelchair dancing. There's para dance. It's called dance and roll.
Dance and roll.
Yeah, for para dance. And we include everybody, men, boys, anyone can join with any kind of disability. They don't need to have they don't need a spinal. You can have any kind of disability to come and join our group at the dance and roll.
Fantastic. And you have an online session as well, if anyone's interested.
We do have an online session. That's on a Monday between 6 and 7 on a Monday, and Thursday in person at Darebin Arts at 6 till 7.
Excellent. So not all of it has to be face-to-face, so there is online options as well. I know a lot of people that are on here to what we've done as an activity. A lot of people probably won't relate this to an activity, but during the summer weather, we catch up at a certain spot, like along the beach, and go for a bit of a cruise, doing that sort of stuff too. I mean, anyone is welcome to join us, and there's, not just this one, but there's different groups doing that sort of stuff as well, just going for coffee somewhere, going for a bit of a push, getting something to eat, all that sort of stuff. So that's really important for people to know that, it doesn't have to be a high level sport again, could be just an activity where you are socializing, you are getting some fitness. I want to share my screen again if anyone wants to comment. I want to share some other photos with activities and also some of the sports that we talked about at the Paralympics. Give you an idea of what it looks like on court or on the field, and also show you some of the equipment that people use as well. So share my screen. Give me a sec while I do this. So this is boccia, like we said. Aaryan is playing this. I'm not sure, Aaryan, I think you're in one of these photos, but as you can see, it's played indoors. There's a ramp there. Please, Aaryan, I'm not an expert in this, so if you want to make any comments or any mistakes,
Yeah, so
that I
essentially,
say.
like that white ball there, the aim of the
Yeah.
game is to get your ball as close to that white ball as you can, like lawn bowls. But the difference is you keep throwing until your ball gets closer, and then each phase of the game is called an end. So after each player has thrown 6 balls, and then the jack has been thrown by one of the players, then the next player gets to throw the jack, and they throw the first ball. And red always throws the first jack and the first ball. Then it goes to blue, and then it just swaps around. So yeah,
Okay.
there's like you play with a ramp, or you can throw as well. And this was a team photo of mine when we were going to, I think it was just before we were meant to go to Croatia recently. Um, and yeah, obviously
Okay.
in this photo, like the bottom one with the red and blue ball, that you measure the ball to see who's closer, because whoever's further away, they'll keep going until they get closer.
Oh, great. And I'm guessing you can knock other balls out of the way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So you can knock other balls out, you can knock the jack back. If the jack is on the line at the end of the court, you can knock the jack out, and then the jack goes back in the middle. So then you can put balls in the middle to then like gain ascendancy that way. It's such a dynamic game in terms of like what you can do with each ball, and you can change it so easily with an attacking or defensive shot. So
Okay. Oh,
it's a
that's
great
great.
game to be involved in.
Yeah, I can see it's very inclusive as well. I mean, different disabilities. You can play in a power chair or manual chair. You can free throw the ball or use that ramp as well. That's fantastic. Um, just go share some other photos. So here's some photos of outdoor and adventure. You can see there's a list of sports and activities there. This is pretty crazy, I think. I don't know if I would give myself a try in these. I'm pretty soft, I think, when it comes to trying some activities, but got abseiling, camping, bird watching, canoeing, parasailing, traveling, fishing, holidays, going on holidays, sailing. I think that photo on the bottom there is the new, know what they call it, I can't remember the name, but it's like a wave park in Tullamarine.
Wave
What else?
pool.
What was that one?
A wave pool. I've got a friend
Wave.
that works there actually. Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember the name of the place. Anyway, it doesn't
Urban
matter.
surf.
So, Urban Surf. That's it.
Yep.
So what have we got there? So iFly again. That's for people to experience skydiving, I guess. So it's indoor skydiving. You got surfing, which you can do in Tullamarine. Sit skiing. I think in Chelsea there's another park there. That's it's a cable park where you can sit ski. All the equipment is provided for you, and the staff there are fantastic to help set you up. Sit skiing as well. I had the snow, I've got to say, so I've never tried sit skiing. Um, and wakeboarding as well. So that's the cable park I was talking to you about. You might see some familiar faces in some of these photos. What I mentioned about the beach push as well, some guys getting together just to catch up, for a bit of a social activity, go for a cruise on the beach. It's not a race, we take our time doing that. Get some lunch, have a coffee while we're doing that as well. If anyone's interested in doing that too, please get in touch, let us know, and we'll sort of point you in the right direction. Dance and roll, what Susanna was talking about before. So you can see people getting together. So this is done online too. So you can see the setup on the top left there where they're doing dance and roll online and face to face as well. So you can see people love it and they get a good turnout as well. Other ways to keep active, of course, as we mentioned, dancing, bowling, playing billiards, car racing, playing darts, scuba diving, snorkeling. These are all really good options. Gliding, golf. A lot of people don't realise that you can play golf as well. There's specialised golf wheelchairs cycling, so hand cycling, boating, even driving, going for a cruise with other friends. Go-karting, there's a couple of places that have got modified go-karts that you can use if you've got a disability. A whole bunch of ones here. You can see they're in different categories. Outings and socialising. See, there's just going out. I mean, these are actually activities people don't consider as activities. Home and garden, what you can do at home, and in the garden, cooking, for example. Wine tasting. Well, there's one I've got to try. But games, different types of games, board games and card games, quiet stuff like reading, talking groups. And you got to remember, all this stuff, you don't have to do it on your own. There's groups out there that you can join where you can be part of. And, what happens is you're socializing and you're seeing what other options you've got as well. It doesn't always have to be like a physical activity. Learning, if you want to learn, get the brain in shape, you can always go to TAFE or university, local neighbourhood houses as well that are around. A lot of people don't know this stuff, but here's a whole lot more of activities, craft and handiwork. And there's a lot there to go over, but if people are interested, we can share this slideshow so you can sort of study it at your own pace during your own time as well. So we can share that if you like. Art and self-expression, singing, I can see there, singing stands out. Trying drama, film, drawing, music, personal development. There's a good one. I mean, if people are interested in public speaking, there's groups that do that. And I've heard a lot of good things about that too. And we talked about returning to study, relationship skills, volunteer work, wheelchair skills, for example. That's something that AQA offers if people want to improve their wheelchair skills or just refresh on what they've done in the past. We can help out in that area as well. Health and well-being. You've got things like relaxation, meditation, Tai Chi, learning first aid, yoga. Now, these are some extra slides. I'll quickly go through these. So these are some of the sports that are being played at the Paralympics. So I won't go into the notes there, but pretty much just give you an idea of what it looks like. So you've got the blind football there. As you can see, they play on a sort of a miniature soccer field. All participants are blind or vision impaired. And you've got boccia, which we mentioned before. Aaryan is part of that. Got goalball as well. Para-archery, again, you can play standing up or in a wheelchair. All the setups, all individual. I think the Royal Talbot's got a setup too. So if people want to try out archery, they can go to the Royal Talbot and have a look at what that looks like as well. Here we go. So this is track. So this is what Sam's going to the Paralympics to compete in a few weeks' time. So you can see that's a track and field track there, and there's different categories as well that they race in. Para badminton, Brian talked about that. I think there's weekly sessions and groups around that as well. Canoeing, again, paracycling. I think we've got Carol online who is into paracycling. She's been at many Paralympic Games and started at a later age as well. When we talked about getting involved, you don't have to be 20 or 30, you could be 40, 50, doesn't matter, there's no limitations to that. Equestrian, so we're going to have Emma, who is, I think she's going to the Paralympics, not sure, but you can see she's a paraplegic, and Equestrian is, or horse riding is also an option. Para judo, powerlifting as well, even though you do that on a bench, doesn't matter what disability you've got, that's pretty inclusive as well. Para rowing, shooting as well. So again, doesn't matter what disability you've got. You can do parachuting. There's a club in Springvale that meet up once a week if you want to go and have a try. Swimming, table tennis, taekwondo, triathlon. So you can see that's hand cycling, what Lachie's into, sitting volleyball, wheelchair basketball. A few people have tried this out, including Lenny. Lenny's played at the Invictus Games, wheelchair basketball, wheelchair fencing, wheelchair tennis. So Marty was heavily involved in this, wheelchair tennis. And I've got to say, this is my favourite. So this is the sport I was involved in. Still am at a lower level now, but you know, this is something I started off with as a social activity, believe it or not. I mean, I started just to meet other people, learn from them, keep fit, and that took me to 5 Paralympic Games along the way. So, you know, you can do it for various reasons, and it can take you anywhere, really. That's pretty much all the slides that I wanted to go through, so I'll stop sharing and see if there's any other questions that have come through. Question 2 for Susanna. Do you or any other do any other forms of exercise? Example, do you have a gym set up at home? You're on mute again, Susanna. And a lot of the other guys too. I mean, you got to remember, if you've got a gym set up, doesn't mean you have to have all the equipment like, you know, going to a paid gym. You could use things like TheraBand, for example, have a setup where it doesn't cost you a lot of money. You can just set up a few different types of TheraBands and exercise every muscle that you would in a gym environment, proper gym environment.
Yeah, so yeah, I do have a gym set up at home, outside. I do weights with some of our Zumba classes. We use weights and a TheraBand, scarves, all sorts of things to do different types of exercises within exercising to music. And so, yeah, we do use weights, and I do have a gym at home.
Excellent. As I mentioned, you know, you can set your gym up. Doesn't have to cost big bucks. And
No.
you can set it up with things like TheraBands as well. So Georgina asked you as well, Susanna, so what are other benefits of dancing and listening to music in general?
Oh, I think it's the participation of all the people that come together that make it, you know, a social activity. We all get together, we have fun, the choreography. There's also a lot of memory involved, using your brain. That's really, you know, really important to get that kind of exercising your brain when you're socializing and doing
Exactly.
the
For mental health, you know, any of the stuff that we've been talking about is really, really important for mental health as well.
Yeah.
There's a question here saying, is there any upcoming come and try days? So there are come and try days ongoing, depending on different sports. I've got to mention on the August the 14th, on a Wednesday, we've got What's Out There Day at the Royal Talbot, where we're going to have lots of all this equipment that we've been talking about on display. And there's going to be an opportunity to try out some of those wheelchairs as well and some of those other equipment. So remember that. If you're not getting emails from AQA, let us know and we'll set you up. So any things that come up, you'll be notified. But remember, Wednesday the 14th of August at the Royal Talbot. If you're going to come along, please RSVP as well.
Can I just mention something else that's just recently happened as
Yep.
well? Is on your previous slide, you mentioned different things like being able to holiday and going places and things like that, and water sports such as wakeboarding and boating and that. There's a company up in Mildura called All Seasons Houseboats that has just finished a wheelchair accessible houseboat. So the lower level has 6 bedrooms, all with their own en-suites. And then the main bedroom is totally wheelchair accessible with a wheelchair accessible bathroom. There is a lift that takes you from the lower level to the top level, which is where the kitchen and the entertaining area is and the sun deck and things like that. These are 5-star accommodation places where, you know, TVs, spas, all sorts of stuff. So this is something that we've done as a family for the last 15 years, where we hire these houseboats, and we've got a ski boat that I've got up in Mildura, and I pulled out of storage and we tow that behind the houseboat. And then we just sit for 10 days and we wakeboard and ski and get on the mattress and all sorts of activities from the back of the houseboat. Fortunately, with my condition, I've been able to manage with the standard houseboats that they have. But now this wheelchair accessible one will just change things even more so. So where the stairs were challenging for me to get from the lower level to the top level, but now with the lift, yeah, that just changes things dramatically. I can see Marty sitting out on the back of this deck in the summer with beer in hand and watching the boats go by and enjoying life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. But
Hey, Brian, can I just quickly ask, can you repeat the name of the company again? Someone just asked, they missed it.
All Seasons Houseboats. So based in Mildura. Not the best time of year to be going now. It's a little bit chilly, but in the summer months, it's magnificent.
I'd say you have to book well ahead.
You do, very much so. Yeah, we booked 12 months in advance. So when we got off the boat in February, and we knew this boat was under construction, and we've booked that for February now next year. So yeah. No, look, it's the overall hire is not cheap, but if with the 6 bedrooms and if you fill them with 12 people, spread out over 12 people, it's not too bad. The cost isn't too bad if you can fill it.
Okay.
when I just want to also add, all the panelists here have got a wealth of knowledge when it comes to travel and different places as well. Doesn't have to be in Victoria, could be interstate or even overseas. So if you're looking for accessible activities or accommodation, please get in touch and we can help you out with that as well. Question for you, Lachie. So how do you plan the routes that you take when you're hand cycling to make sure that they're accessible?
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. As I've been doing it for years, I've built up a bit of experience doing this. So I actually have a
relate
sporting...
to daily push around your neighbourhood as well. I mean, this could be good advice for someone who just wants to go for a push around their neighbourhood.
Yeah, exactly. So a couple of ways I do it. I'm part of a sort of sporting social app I pay a subscription for. It's called Strava. And basically, I can see all the routes I go on and has segments on particular parts of the road and everything. And it's got a specific part called a heat map. So if I go, let's say I'm traveling out to Bright, a place I love going and I've never been there before. And then I go, where do I ride? Do I just ride on the main highway and almost get hit, or where do I go, right? So I go on this heat map, right? And what the heat map is, basically it's like, I don't know if everyone knows what a heat map is, that the colors change the more it's used, essentially, the more it's on. So basically it's a more of a fluorescent color, I think it is, when someone's ridden there more. So I'll kind of see that people have ridden there more. So I go, hey, I'm going to ride on those roads and have a particular look. That's one way I do it. Sometimes I drive around and I know certain roads I go 100 k's an hour windy, no way, I'll get hit, cleaned up there. Another one sometimes isn't the be all end all, is Google can be helpful. Google Maps, I'll go on there and click my route and then click change it to cycling. So if you go on the app and then usually as you would, you'd hit your destination and enter the start, it's always set on drive. So once you hit the destination, it'll go, let's say I'm going from here to, I live in Montmorency, going to AQA in Fairfield. I'll click that, and then when it comes up, I'll go in under the subsections and click cycling, and it can tell you the cycling routes. And furthermore, to add, I personally like to ride on the road. I'm not a huge fan of bike lanes, paths, sorry, because in a hand cycle, I can get up to some good speeds, and I like to go fast. So if you go quite fast on a hand cycle around the corner, because we're on 3 wheels, low center of gravity, we can tip easily. So I'm not a big fan of going through there. That being said, there are some that are quite designed well, so I might check them out. Yeah, they're the main ways I do it, but I tend to drive or go check it out first is my main thing if I really want to go riding on it.
No, great. Thanks, Lachie. Someone made a comment to you, Susanna. So you've got like a hand cycle in your home gym as well? Is that
Yeah.
on rollers? So
No,
no.
it is outdoors. It is outdoors and it's very heavy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't be moved indoors or anything like that. So yeah, it's outdoors.
Okay. I was gonna lost Lachie for a moment, but I know for people that do track and hand cycling as well, you don't have to go on the road. You can do it at home. I think
Yeah.
there's rollers. I don't know, Sam, if you've got a set of rollers that you where you stay in the spot and you sort of push in your room or in your backyard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, stationary trainers are really important, especially when we're in winter and it's nasty and cold outside. It's not terribly motivating to go do some sessions. So having the option to be able to do a sport that you like or just get the exercise in, just simply for burning the calories so you can eat a piece of extra cake. It's good to be able to just do that in the living room or the garage where it's a bit warmer and you're out of the environment from outside.
No, excellent. Thanks for that. Aaryan, I think I saw you got to go, but yeah, really appreciate your time and for all the advice you had there. And if anyone wants to get in touch with
Yeah,
Aaryan,
thanks for
please give
having
them.
me. It was a great event. So
No,
yeah,
no,
I
glad to
can
have you.
share my details if you want
Yep,
on the Q&A if
yep.
anyone needs it.
We've got them as well. So if anyone misses it, just get in touch with us and we'll pass them on. Um, Ruth Online mentioned that Diamond Valley Basketball has a Come and Try Day happening in August. So, like I mentioned, there's Come and Try Days for the different sports and activities. All you got to do is get in touch with us to get the details. Um, well, look, what we'll do, we've got a few more minutes. Might go around and ask everyone, just what's your takeaway message for people out there? Might start with you first, Lenny. So what advice have you got for people that want to try different activities or sports?
Like even just getting in the water for me, obviously, having the chair, it's quite hard with the sand, and I put a massive barrier that I don't want to be lifted to get into the ocean. And that was just something internal, obviously, within my brain that I don't know, I just couldn't process at the time, thinking that I'm not going to be a man if I get lifted into the water. So I think really having that mental conversation with yourself about, what you can achieve, what you want to do, what the outcome may be. Like I said before, like for me, without my sport, I was a drug addict for 12 years and I've been clean nearly 6. So I'm nearly halfway through, and I've been in the chair for nearly 8 years. So, in my adult life, if it is it's in my spinal cord life, if I didn't have sport, I'd probably be dead from an overdose, So there's always a lot of rewards if you can, if you can get out of the mental battle that you have with yourself.
No, very true. Thanks very much, Lenny. How about Jack? What about you? What takeaway message do you want to leave the audience with?
I reckon just get out there and have a go at something in the sporting side. The benefits, especially mental health, the body, the people you meet and participate with, they're so good value to learn off. I really enjoy it. Get out there and have a go.
Exactly. Thanks. All you got to do is take that first step, I think. How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I think most people sort of touched on the fitness side of it, or getting out there and being active, and how that can help your overall your fitness. Obviously, mental health as well is a huge part of that. Also, I think the social aspect of just socialising with people at different, whether it be a social event or in competition, you get to meet a lot of people, both nationally and internationally, through these different sporting organisations. So I think all these factors are very important in all our lives. So whether it be with spinal cord injury, health challenges, or able for that matter, we all fall into that category. Apart from sports and rec, there's also a lot of volunteer work out there as well that people can then become engaged in.
Yeah.
I've recently, or I'm trying to remember now how long I've been doing it now, but I do peer support with AQA down at Talbot. I run into Jack quite often down there while we're both wheeling around and just talking to inpatients about their journey, and Susanna as well. We help people where we can in that aspect as well. So if sport isn't your go, but you want to still be able to socialize and meet people and share your journey, volunteer work is another great way of doing it. It's very rewarding.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Sue, how about you?
Yeah, well, everybody's basically almost said everything that I want to say. Engaging, socializing. It's a time where you can just take away from the world and be at something and do something that you like doing. With our dance, we have a lot of different kind of music that we listen to. And we also have different choreographies to certain dances. So it's not just exercise. We all get together, and sometimes we have social events where we go out for dinner or lunch as well. So if you're looking at doing some dancing, come along and try. It doesn't cost you anything to come and try, and you might like it.
Exactly. Thanks very much, Sue. Sam, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a repeating statement here. Is just
It
go
is.
have a try. I was lucky enough to do a para table tennis come and try thing in LA once. But honestly, since then, my table tennis game versus my siblings and my friends, when you go to like a hotel or somewhere where there's a ping pong table, has improved remarkably. And I'm much more competitive. So even if it's just for a basic skill like that, so when you're traveling, you can pick up a bat and be a little bit better if you don't want to play it professionally. Just going and learning some basic skills can be really transferable and helps rub some dirt in some of your friends' face. So always too.
Exactly. And Marty?
Look, I think yes, yeah. Being one of the last ones here, I think everyone again has touched bases on everything. Look, I needed a purpose in life to get out of bed and stay away from going to pubs and clubs and everything else. And tennis, that was it. That was tennis for me. And anyone that does want to play any sport, just put your hand up and ask questions. We've got a pretty good community here in Victoria, Australia. I'm sure anyone will help anyone who wants to get involved. I think that's part of the good parts of being a part of tennis or any sport is the community. We're all here with spinal cord injury or whatever, being with whatever disability you have, and I found along my journey that everyone has helped. So yeah, if you're ever interested in anything, just ask. I don't think anyone will deny you the question.
Great advice, Marty. I think that's it. I mean, you just got to speak up, want to do it, and you're going to find so many supports around you that are willing to put you in the right direction and help out in any way they can. Lachie, how about you? Any takeaway message for the audience or any other advice?
Yeah, absolutely. If we're referring to sport as such, I just think try as much as you can. I was always into sport before I had my accident playing rugby, and I lost that. and that was my passion. I wanted to find a new passion, and I tried a few different things. If I didn't feel like it was my passion, I kept jumping over, and just keep having to go. You never know, the next thing you find might be your absolute love of life. It'll just renew everything, and make it so enabling. Honestly, when I get in a hand cycle, I don't think of myself as a chair or anything. I just think how much I love doing it. Absolute passion. I think on top of that as well, when you're trying it, it's good to try it with someone who really knows the sport. So within hand cycling, getting comfortable in a hand bike is a big thing, being in the right spot so it's not too much stress on the shoulders. And Sam will definitely know, like, wheelchair racing is very niche like that as well. You might jump into a race chair and go, oh, this sucks, I don't like it. But someone who's got the right experience with it and also mechanically minded, they might be able to get you in a good spot to make you feel comfortable. So, reach out to as many people as you can. And there's one thing that no one's mentioned as well, like you mentioned before. There's a place called Sargood, up in Sargood in Colorado, up in New South Wales somewhere, that you can stay there. It's crazy expensive, but I think the NDO is funded. You can get respite. They've got a lot of hand cycles and other equipment there to come and try stuff there. And then I think the last thing I'll add is that, if you're wanting to get stuff to the NDIS or you want to try things, go for an NDIS trial for equipment. That's a good way to get it and have a go at it, because if you do it, you love it, it might be for you. And yeah, again, with hand cycling, it doesn't always have to just be super hard work. You can get power assist on your hand cycle and you can ride around, and you get fatigued, you can add that in or make it a bit easier so you can ride out and enjoy it, not just feel like you're killing yourself every time. So yeah.
No, that's fantastic, Lachie. So if everyone's got about 10 minutes, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get everyone that's still on to come online with us to ask any questions. But before I do that, I just want to thank everyone here. So Lenny, Jack, Sam, Susanna, Brian, Marty, Lachie, Aaryan, who's left. Yeah, thanks very much for your time. Seriously, it's very valuable having you guys on here, giving your time and advice. Very much appreciated. And Sam, I want to wish you well. You're going over to Paris in a few weeks' time. Hopefully everything goes well for you. So when are you jumping on the plane to get over there?
We leave on the 21st of August. Yeah, so we'll go straight into the village for athletics.
Excellent. So yeah, good luck again. And thank you to all of our panelists.